idea for a story. You want to turn it into a novel. You have a rough idea for the beginning, a semi-formed idea for the middle, and no idea for the end. As you stare at that blank Word document, the thought of bringing your novel to life starts to become daunting. You persist anyway, writing a chapter or two, but you're having doubts on whether you can continue it. Life gets in the way, and perhaps you think there's no point continuing on the story. If you can relate to any of what I've just said, you are not alone. This is how my brain worked exactly when I wanted to start writing. I was determined to write, but I had little idea on how to do it consistently. I wasn't sure how writing was going to slot into my already busy schedule. But through analysing my own work-life schedule, I found that a writing routine doesn't have to dominate my life. Instead, it should complement it. So keep watching this video or listening to this podcast episode if you'd like to hear me run through some of my suggestions for creating and maintaining your writing goals. If this is your first time watching or listening, hi, my name is Monica and I'm a fantasy author under the pen name MG Hunt. I discuss all kinds of author life and writing related subjects on my platforms and also some creative and illustration discussions as well. I currently have one published work to date, which is Alara and the Passing. You can find it on Amazon. It's a short story and I currently have a full-length novel in the works called Still Waters Run Deep, coming out 2025. That's a bit about me. And I am proud to say I am a novice writer, novice author as well. So these are my tips that I have created based on a lot of trial and error. I'm still very new to this. I would never call myself an expert in this area, but if you're like me and you're wanting to get started into writing and you have no idea where to start, I'm hoping some of these tips as a fellow novice writer will help you as well. So let's get to the topic of discussion. How does one create and maintain a writing routine? You may have read or heard about the self-help book Atomic Habits by James Clear. He talks about the power of making tiny improvements every day to transform into something over time. And a quote from this book reads, "If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time that you're done." Committing to a 1% improvement rate is something I'm willing to engage with. It doesn't seem too hard to achieve. My mindset has always been if I can just do a little bit more than I did yesterday, that is still a bit better than nothing. I used to be the kind of person that would really throw my all into something, set these really high goals for myself and aims. And there's nothing wrong with that as well. But when I didn't hit those goals, I didn't really feel motivated to continue. But my mindset has definitely changed where life is busy. We've got a lot of different priorities. So if you can commit to making just a little bit of progress each day, that's better than nothing. Creating and maintaining a routine is just as important to me as the actual output of the story that I'm creating. You may have heard the other infamous saying / joke, which is, how do you eat an elephant? The answer, 1 bite at a time. If you are faced with an elephant on your plate, you may be paralysed by fear. It's an elephant after all. But there's only one way through, and that is to take 1 tiny bite at a time. And eventually, the metaphorical elephant is consumed. So, in this case, our elephant is our novel. Let's tackle this elephant 1 bite at a time. So, starting with number 1, set yourself a weekly or daily word count goal. Choose a word count or chapter goal and stick to it. Easier said than done, you might say. Well, I never said how much that word count should be or the chapter goal should be. It could be 100 words a day, 1,000 words a week, a chapter a month, 5 words a day. Whatever you choose, it doesn't matter as long as you can commit to that goal. Decide on a goal that is 100% achievable for your lifestyle. Something that is non-negotiable, no matter the things that life throws at you. So for me, my goal is 1,000 words a week. I've heard of authors that can write much, much more than this a week. However, I have to consider my lifestyle. I work a full-time job. I have midweek and weekend commitments. So my goals need to be appropriate for my working routine. If you're struggling to meet this goal that you've set for yourself, that's okay. As I mentioned before, this is something that I used to struggle with. I used to think, well, what's the point of trying to reach this goal if I'm struggling to achieve it? It's okay to reflect and modify the goal to suit your needs. If you're struggling to meet your daily, weekly goal, that's okay. It's important to realise that, and then it will prompt you to reassess. If you set yourself a goal of, say, 100 words a day, and you were struggling to meet that goal, drop it in half. Drop it down to 50. It can be a temporary thing. You could do that for a month, see how you go. If you feel like you're on top of things, pick it up at 100 words for the next month. Work out what's best for you in your personal life and your commitments. Life gets in the way, and what's important is to focus on consistency. If you are consistently showing up to do the goal that you've set for yourself, no matter how small or how big, at the end of the day, you're making progress. Goal number 2, know your preferred writing environment. When you picture yourself writing, what does that look like? Where does it look like? What time of the day? What beverage or snacks are in your vicinity, perhaps? For me, mornings are my preferred time to write. Whether it's the caffeine running through my veins as I sit in my comfy bed, or perhaps it's the time where I don't have as many inhibitions or doubts as I've just woken up, I find that that's when I'm most productive for my writing. In general, I feel like I'm always motivated in the mornings. Not everyone's like that, but that's just how I feel. Particularly on the days that I work from home in the week, I try to maximise the time I have in the morning that would otherwise be spent on commuting to writing instead. And it's the same for the weekends. When I have my cup of coffee in bed, I'm motivated to pump out those words first thing in the morning. But for yourself, you might feel like your prime writing time is after you put the kids to bed, and you can spend 15 minutes or so in front of a laptop with a glass of wine. Or maybe it's on your daily commute on public transport to your job, where you can type away on your laptop if you get a spare seat on the train, or even on your smartphone. I've heard authors that simply use their smartphone. Whatever it is, so long as you commit to some sort of progress each week, that's going to help you achieve your goal. Also, get to know your drink of choice, snack of choice when writing, so it becomes a pleasure to engage with. I always look forward to my coffee in the morning, but if I happen to write at night, I don't mind having a lemongrass tea or Sauvignon Blanc after dinner. It doesn't go astray. I give you permission to treat yourself when it comes to getting you to write. Make it an enjoyable experience and make it a relaxing one too. Think about what ideal environment would suit you to write in. For me, I do go between my bed or the lounge room couch, not really my desk as my office space here at home. I feel like that's more for my work on my work from home days, or maybe for editing or other content creation stuff. I feel like it's a little too, I don't know, it doesn't feel that relaxing to me, but the lounge room couch or the bed definitely hits that spot for me. If I'm out in the lounge room, I will put on a Spotify playlist, maybe even light a candle, put the scent diffuser on and just type away. You should set the mood, so to speak, for your writing and your creativity to flow. Put that candle on, grab some snacks, grab that drink and just set to typing. And finally, number 3, record your progress. Recording my word count is one way that I track my progress, and it also helps to see just how far I've come. For this, I use a word count tracker, and this is something I've just made using Google Sheets, and I'll pop an example of this in the video, and for the listeners, I'll also explain. So what I've got open is my personal word count tracker. As you can see, it's pretty basic, but it helps me get through what I need to record for my projects. So I made this at the start of the year, and basically I made it just to help me track the progress on this Gatira novella project that I've been working on. Here we have the aim, and my aim is to write 1,000 words per week. Bar any weeks dedicated to editing. I've said what I would like to finish. I can tell you now, I don't know whether I'll get onto the Still Waters Run Deep #2 this year, but nonetheless, I just put it out there as something I could hope to aim towards, but that's okay. I'm focusing on the Gatira novella to start off with, which, to be honest, I think I have to rename that because I don't think this is a novella anymore. I think this is shaping up to be probably a full-length novel, but at the start of the year when I first started writing it, I just thought, oh yeah, it will be like a 20,000 word novella or something like that. But as you're probably looking at the screen towards the end, yes, it's definitely, the project has definitely gone above 20,000 words. So the way that I set out my word count tracker just has 5 columns here. So we've got the week, numbers 1 to 52, I think there are in a year. Hope I get that right. We've got the starting WC, which stands for word count, ending word count. Then we've got the project and the total words achieved for that week. So I started right on January 1st. I already had about 9,200 words from when I started last year, and for that week I didn't quite hit my goal, but that's okay. It was close enough. And then in the following week I did hit my goal of over 1,000 words a week. So I thought, you know what, at least that kind of evens itself out. I guess you divide that with within a fortnight I hit 2,000 words. So yep, that's all good for me. So in my project column, I do have a selection of little tasks or projects that I can select what I'm going to be working on this for the week. So I don't really do too much editing as I go along, but I felt like at this point around May, I thought I would just spend that following week doing some editing. And I think part of my reasoning was I was probably getting to a point in the book where I needed to just kind of have a recap about what I had already written, where I want the story to go. So I dedicated that week to editing and I highlighted that there. And I did some more editing a bit further on, probably for the same reason, to get familiar with what I had previously written. And as you can probably see towards the end, starting around middle of August, I was dedicating more time towards marketing, starting the marketing and rollout of Elara and the Passing, which was my short story. So I didn't write anything for my project Gatira novella, so I just put 0 word count there. I know that this word count tracker is not perfect. It could be improved. You know, I'm just thinking if people were to create their own, perhaps there would be a way to put the project on this side and then having the word count specific for the project instead if you went between 2 projects. So that's something that perhaps I can improve on. And also, yes, my editing skills on Google Sheets, yes, need some work because I've got some lines floating there, but that's fine. I'm learning. So basically August and September was a little bit light on any sort of edits, and that was because I was focusing a lot of my time in the marketing of Elara and the Passing, and the marketing strategy for that was a lot of content being created for Instagram posts, and I think I just didn't really have the brain space to get onto my Gatira novella, and that's totally fine. That's just how life works sometimes. I was determined to come back to it, and I did, and I have been, as of today when I'm recording, almost going to hit 1,000 words here on this week. I should just add that today when I'm recording this, it is a Saturday, and the week that I've got listed is from the Monday to the Sunday. So I still have one more day to hit my goal. So I intend to hopefully bang out another 200 words on the Sunday. Weekends are usually the best time for me to smash out some of that word goal. So I'm pretty close to hitting that goal this week. But sometimes if I don't quite hit it, there's been a few odd weeks where I don't hit that word count. I just say to myself, look, I've got every intention to keep on going with the book. So if most of the time I do hit it, sometimes not. And maybe some of the weeks that I do have an extra 200 words added over the minimum 1,000 word count, I guess it all quote unquote comes out in the wash, as they say. Overall, the average, I believe my word count goal is being met, and it could be interesting to see if there's like a feature you can add in on the Google spreadsheet. I'm sure you can, where you could work out an average word count overall. So maybe in this column there could be a way to add up all these amounts and have a running average word count hit. Could be an interesting feature to have. A running average to see what the average word count is for the week, and maybe I'll have to work that out and get my math brain working to see how I could do that. So so this is just an overview of how I set up my word count tracker. It definitely helps me, and it gives me a bit of a boost when I see how far I've come, because if you had have told me towards the end of the year I'd almost have 50,000 words for Gatira novella, I would have thought, no way. But this is proof. This is proof that it happens. So I hope this helps, and I hope this gives you a bit of an indication on, or maybe even some inspiration about what you yourself could create in the way of a word count tracker, if that's something you're interested in. So in this fast-paced world that we live in, it can not only be hard to find the time to write, but also find the energy to do so. My advice to myself and to everyone is to be kind with myself. I want to enjoy the process of creating more than the output itself necessarily. I want my final product to be a labour of love and something that I'm really passionate about. I want it to be a pleasure to engage with throughout the entire journey. So I don't want to put too much pressure on myself as well. As long as I'm committing to my minimum goals, whatever that might be for the week or month, as long as I'm making progress, then I know it's going to be something that will get done eventually. As I mentioned in my previous episode/video, I am a slow reader, a slow writer. I know that. I've come to terms with that. So that's how it works for me. No matter how long it takes, no matter how small that goal is, I will chip away at it. And hey, it's worked so far. Those are my suggestions that will hopefully help you with your own novel writing and creation journey. So I want to know your thoughts about my tips. Do you have a writing project that you're currently struggling to get through? Do you have it swimming around in your brain and you're desperate to get it out on paper? Or do you have some other tips that have helped to create and maintain your writing routine? I would love to know those. So feel free to drop a comment, send me a message. I would love to hear from you all. So thank you everyone, and I hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one.